Hello and welcome back to this little YouTube channel. You already know what it is. Today we are doing a 2 EP review episode. We are looking at the first EP from, I'm going to say both of these bands' names wrong, to be honest with you. So the first one is, I think you pronounce it Ameonna, which is Goddess Wept. For those of you that don't know who Ameonna is, it is the original vocalist of Chelsea Grin, Alex Kohler, and some of the other guys that used to be in Chelsea Grin with him. They have joined together to form this new project, new name, but it still has sort of like an old school Chelsea Grin vibe, which I'm so happy about because personally, I haven't been enjoying Chelsea Grin as much since Tom Barber took over. But the second DEP we're going to be looking at is Kublia TX's Lowest Form of Animal. So, we're going to start with Goddess Wept by Ameonna. And it, funnily enough, starts with track 1, which is the title track Goddess Wept. So this is about 1 minute and 36 seconds long. It's a bit of a short intro. There's nothing really too much going on. It is just a title track with instrumental playing in the background. And towards the end, I think maybe the last 5 to 10 seconds, there's like rumbling of thunder. There's a little bit of rain sounds, which then leads into track number 2, which is Rainbringer. So you can see kind of like the interlink. I don't know what that was, but you know, it's supposed to have been an arrow, but I fucked it, didn't I? So Rainbringer is about 3 minutes and 12, and this again, like I said, picks up from the rumbling thunder and stuff that ends track 1, and the vocals rip in immediately. And as I said, as more of a fan of Alex Kohler's era of Chelsea Grin, this really vocally hits the spot. It's old school, it's gnarly, it's, you know, it's better than I ever could have thought when they said we're getting back together to do some music. Because I followed Alex's career a bit outside of Chelsea Grin. Obviously he did the hip-hop rap metal stuff with Grudges, and he did some work with Grudges and Anxiety. And then he kind of went quiet. Obviously I know he had a lot going on in his personal life, so when I saw him pop back up on Twitter and he was saying that he had this band coming out, you know, I knew what to expect, but I didn't know if it was going to be like underground, not underground, but you know, like in their own sort of little way. They had recorded it themselves, put it out themselves, or if it was going to be like polished. Because you know, like some bands, they'll put out like their first EP, even with the amount of experience these guys have in the industry, and the first EP could not be ideal. This was far from that. This was like they were back on their bullshit. They had everything just from the off, you know. Like I said, vocally it's great. The drums were ridiculously good. The guitars throughout this track as well were sublime. And if you listen close, there is like some subtle violin parts hidden away in like the track, but you really need to be listening for them because, like I said, when they're subtle, they are subtle. And I only picked up on it because I had it playing through my speaker, and I had it up semi-loud, you know, and it was like coming through on there, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't hear this when I had my earphones in listening to this for the first time and stuff. And it was kind of cool to pick up on that again and be able to point that out in this. So from there we move on to track 3, which is Behavioral Health, and again this is about 3 minutes 13. Starts off very vibey, bouncy guitars, chunky vocals. The whole composition really feels like old school metalcore, or not metalcore, but like death metal ish. You know what I mean? Like, my brain is not wording today. Apologies. Yeah, and the ending where it blends some like garbled talking into the instrumental keeps that kind of like old school death metal vibe where they used to have like the fucking movie like segments put in and stuff like that. Like when Chelsea Green, that's wrestling. Chelsea Grin had that one song. Was it Krukerbang, or is it hit the lights? It's boner time and stuff like that. Like it kind of gave me those sorts of vibes. Yeah. So moving on, we have track 4, which is Void. This is 3.5 minutes long, 3 minutes 55. Fucking hair. We get a lower, like more low key start. And this track, it feels a bit more emotional, a bit more like personal. Then the vibe kind of quickly picks up again. The vocal, Jesus Christ, man, the vocals. What the fuck are vocals? The vocals, they keep that raw, almost like pained, stung delivery mixed with Alex's usual style of delivery, and honestly, this is my favourite track on this EP. Track 5, we have PZN/MND, 3 minutes 22. I feel like that's supposed to be like two different words shortened, but I can't work out what they are. MND obviously to me stands out for mind, but I don't know what PZN would be. So, yeah. Anyway, starting off here with a build up into it, and it goes hard. The drums, they really did stand out to me the most on this track. The whole thing it goes hard from start to finish. There's like a little bit where instrumentals drop out and Alex's vocals stay in. He says like a few words, and this is like chunky, almost, like sickening, crunchy sort of thing. And a sick outro portion that follows after that. And this one was just, again, really well put together. Track 6, the final track, is called Autumn, A Long Goodbye. And this is 4 minutes and 2 seconds. So the final track is actually the longest track on this EP as well. Apologies. We start with a few guitar notes, and then the full soundscape kind of develops after that. It definitely has that old Chelsea Grin feel. I would say it's somewhere between like... Hold on, let me have a look. Okay, I can't see. It has like a specific era that it kind of like reminds me of, but I can't think of the name of it off of the top of my head. But if you listen to this, you'd probably be able to work out what I'm on about. Lyrically, it's very good. Like, take this one verse, for example, that I decided to pick out, right? You used to bring a smile to my face. The times we shared I could never replace. A love so dear, a place where I belonged. You guided my hand until you steered me wrong. And that's, like I said, just one hand-picked verse. There's many others that stood out throughout this entire song. I loved it, and it's like this like lovelorn heartbreak sound vibe to it. It's very good, very, very well put together, and honestly, the entire EP for their first one out together, bearing in mind obviously they have worked together on previous material with other bands, is phenomenal. And they only go strength to strength because I think a couple months or maybe a month after dropping Goddess Wept, they dropped another EP which I think was called like Goddess Rain or something like that. And that was even better, and I do intend on obviously doing that one at some point. And if I had put, you know, two and two together in my brain, I could have done an Ameonna, you know, double EP special, but I didn't think of that, and I am a dumbass. So, but yeah, moving on now, we will look at Kublia Khan TX's lowest form of animal. I don't really know how to describe Kublia Khan. Like, they're like, I wouldn't say beat down, but they have maybe like a more hardcore style vibe to them. Yeah. So we start off with track one, which is Swan Song featuring Scott Vogel, who I believe is from the Ghost Inside. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct. I have a poster of them, and it just doesn't fucking tell me their names. God damn it. um, this is about 3.5 minutes long. The lyrical content of this track is interesting. There's lines about sex work, prostitution, for example, domestic abuse, you know, stuff like that. It doesn't really pull punches. There are some dark lines throughout this entire album, not album, EP. Um, Vocally, obviously, it's like that signature style of Mr. Matt Honeycutt. You can feel the delivery of everything he says. Like, it's there. Everything is present. Like, he has that rasp, that gutturalness to him, but he still pronounces everything clearly. Scott Vogel, he was on the track. What more can I say? He only really chimed in here and there for the odd line. It didn't feel like the best use of a feature to me, but like he did the opening verse with Matt and their lines kind of like alternated and stuff, and it was all right. I just feel like it could have been used better. So moving on from that, we have track 2, Loyal to None, which is 2.5 minutes. My room is really starting to get warm. I should have left my fan on. The drums here have a serious oomph to them. The lyrics are very much, a cynical, don't trust anybody, like, sort of vibe. There's lines, for example, of who the fuck is real, who the fuck is fake, boom slang taipan, who's the fucking snake, or even through the agony of deceit, I refuse to let you get the best of me. I'm not fully sure on the significance of the lines boom slang taipan, because like boom slang is a song of theirs on a previous album / EP. Taipan is the next track in this EP, so those two bits feel a bit peculiar to me. The only thing I can think of is maybe boom slang and taipan are like references to friends of his that have stabbed him in the back or something, but I don't know. I did give it a quick cursory Google, but I couldn't find anything on it, and I wasn't going to delve too deep into it because it didn't feel that important. So moving on, as I said, we get track 3, which is Taipan. This is 1 minute and 11 seconds long. It's a very short track, but has a very dope flow, a great guitar lick, and you know, it's just kind of like your normal, sort of what you would expect for Kubla Khan, just much shorter. Moving on to track 4, we have Resentment, which is about 3.5 minutes long. Another track with lyrics about domestic violence, and it seems kind of, you know, lyrics about bottling things up until you kind of like fuck everything up. You can't take any more, and like bottling all of the stuff you've like gone through in your life can take a toll on you, and then you end up replicating that and or trying to stop people doing the same things. And like it, I could be wrong, but this is just kind of like how I interpreted it, the song. So obviously if you have a different interpretation of it, please feel free to drop it in the comments. Obviously if you know the song or if you look up the lyrics for it. Again, this is Resentment, so yeah, I'd be interested in obviously seeing what other people think, because I know I'm more than likely wrong with some of what I've said for that one. Yeah, moving on, we have the final track now, which is Dynasty. This is about 3 minutes 15. The final track, again, has very vivid lyrics. This is one of the ones where I've delved into the lyrics of a Kubla Khan album / EP and been like, damn. Like sometimes I just listen to them and I don't really pick up on things, but I was listening to this and I was picking up on things, and I was like, I need to read what they're saying as well. And then when I was reading it along with it, it really kind of like gave the gravity of what they were saying. And I was like, shit. So, hold on, I'm going to have to pause and take a drink here a second. Okay, that's better. I've had a bit of a drink, so hopefully I won't be stumbling over my words, and my mouth is not like the Sahara Desert now. So, where we last left off before I had to pause was the vivid lyrics. The vivid lyrics. So, again, I've only picked and pulled some particular parts from this song to showcase. So, I found this, which was, I watched friends die from fentanyl and suicide. And again, that is just one line, but he does have a little bit more after that, but it wasn't as, you know, this was kind of like me wanting to showcase some of the like topics that they broached. Or in the breakdown where he says, how can I just stand and watch all of you fucking die? How many more push to the morgue? Those are just 2 instances of lines where I was like, damn, okay, this man has definitely, you know, he knows what he's talking about. It gives me the vibe of. And it ends, well, I say it ends, it's near the ending of the track where he goes, another dynasty killed by big pill mills and padlocked cell blocks. 12th stroke, I hang my head. So, as you can see, like obviously there is a big drug talk vibe throughout this, the whole Dynasty track, and yeah, it makes sense. Like obviously drugs and pharmaceuticals are a problem everywhere. So with that said, that is that EP done. I don't really want to broach too much of the drug talk topic. Obviously it's not suitable for YouTube. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And both EPs now are over, so I still have to give you my orders of favourite track to least favourite track. So we'll again start with Ameonna, Goddess Wept. So 1, Void, easy. 2, Autumn Along Goodbye, loved it. Then I would say PZN MND, then Behavioural Health, Rainbringer, and then lastly Goddess Wept, just because it was an instrumental, kind of like an intro opener. Finally, we have Kublia Khan TX, Lowest Form of Animal. So I would say Swan Song, Dynasty, Resentment, Loyal to None, and Taipan, just because it was the shortest, that gets last. Both are astoundingly great EPs. Both I have listened to a lot since they have dropped. Obviously, these are, well, Lowest Form of Animal is a much older EP compared to Goddess Wept. Um, like I said, look out in the future because I will be doing Goddess Rain, which is the other Ameonna EP. And I know that Kublia Khan TX do have a brand new album coming out this year, which I do intend on looking at as well. And I have been toying with going back and looking at some of their older music as well. So hopefully when I next do my next batch of like video ideas, I will remember that and bring that forth. So with that being said, I will be seeing you in my next video, which will be Sink the Ship Persevere album review. And then after that, I believe we will be talking loosely about the Post Malone album, which seems to be an, interestingly enough, country album. So with that being said, there's only one thing left to say, and as always, that is, stay safe out there, my friends. This world is getting very crazy. Goodbye.